So hello everyone and welcome to our HEC Paris webinar. Thank you for being connected with us today for our webinar on the leadership in digital age, presented by our well-known professor, Marc Beretta, whose alumni highly appreciate his courses of our 100% online Master in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So for this webinar, we also have the exceptional participation of François Lignon, one of our alumni of our online master. So my name is Suzanne Materne, and I am a program advisor for our Master in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So good morning, Marc. Good morning, François.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing well,
yeah.
And you're in the best of your form for this webinar. Everything's fine? Okay, great.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. So during this webinar, we'll be covering the following topics. First, I will share a few facts and figures about HEC and our master. Then François will talk about his experience during our online master. And next will be the juicy part, Marc Beretta's presentation and interaction with our viewers. And then François will again tell us what major change took place in his life after our master. And finally, I will say in a few words about how you can apply for our master and how you can get a taste for free of our master. So please stay connected till the end. So a few facts and figures about our business school HEC. We're the second business school in Europe. It was founded in 1881. It is the top 32 in the world for graduating CEOs of Fortune 500. We are known as the first entrepreneurship school in France because also of our high participation with Station F, the world's largest incubator. We have a powerful network of alumni. It is known as being the second most powerful alumni business school network, with 57,000 alumni and 96 nationalities represented on our campus. Our master in innovation and entrepreneurship, just a few words on our master. So this master is 100% online and in English. Online, so you do not have to come to our campus in France. You can work from home, you can work from your office. It is hosted by the very well-known platform Coursera for all the online trainings. The total duration of our master is 18 months. There are 20 courses on the whole. The first 10 courses are fundamental courses, and the next 10 courses have a duration of 12 months, and they are project-based courses which are done through teamwork. We have intakes every 6 months, and the next cohort is on June 24th. So I was telling you the big part of our master are those 12 months of project-based courses. You can work on a case pitched by you or a team member. It can be a real case, maybe your real case that will be voted by the other members of your team. You will be guided throughout those 12 months by entrepreneurs and experienced coaches and teachers such as Marc. So just before starting to listen to my two colleagues here, I would be very happy if you could answer this poll. We would like to know, why are you here? So if you could please answer the questions that are appearing on the screen. Answers are coming little by little. Okay, thank you for answering. So now it is time for François, our alumni, to talk a little bit about himself, his experience with our master 100% online. So please, François. Please
thank you for inviting me. So I hope you will hear me. I get micro there. So initially we were speaking about the alumni. Initially I didn't take the master for the alumni, though I'm discovering day after day the power of the alumni and also the executive education network handled by people from HEC. So this is quite interesting. My background, when I applied for the master, I was a VP products, but I had an engineering background. I was heading technical people and marketing people. But I really had the feeling I needed to consolidate my skills before trying to find a new position, because I had been on the same position since 45 years. How to say, I wanted to do entrepreneurship. I wasn't foreseeing to move into any startup, but and I would compare my skills as my skiing level. I learned to ski alone, and when I was 40 years old, somebody offered me some courses, and I understood that you could boost your level, you could progress again, you could have more fun, you could be more efficient with a few courses, and put less efforts. And this is something I really I said when I applied to the master, and it's exactly what I find there. It was more consolidation of what I had learned, and make sure I would be more efficient. So why did I go for the master online in innovation and entrepreneurship? A few years before, I looked on MBAs, masters. My boss was okay for me to do a master, but he didn't want me to have me too often away. I was traveling a lot. I had 2 kids, and I wanted to be able to be with them also. So, and when the master opened, the entrepreneurship was really close to entrepreneurship, so it's exactly the same. And I found it was very complete, and it was very close to what I was looking for. And you could the fact there's innovation in it also, I felt there would be more fun. So this was also what came on top of it. So you wanted me to speak about organization, how I organize myself, if I remember well. So organization, it's a lot of work. You can organize as you want, find your own constraints. That's really the key difference with another on-premises master. But you do have work. And the good thing, well, for me, every time my kids were asleep, I started working. Every time I was traveling, I was working. No more binge viewing. So you have to stop. Your binge viewing is watching Marc on the video. and I admit that I haven't read a lot of books except the courses or the recommended papers during almost a year. So there was.
François, one question: how many hours of work per week in average?
Yeah, so the average is approximately what had been expected, is around 20 hours. So this is sometimes it was more. It depends on the course. It depends on your skills, your past skills, and it's not obvious that you're faster on what you don't know, on what you already know. It's not always obvious. Some courses are quite rapid because they are. I think Marc's course is easier to understand. It's much more precious. I will come on it when you build the team and during the whole project. And some other courses, it's really during the course itself that it's heavier. And so let's come on my favorite courses. There was 2 of them at the very beginning, boosting creativity and entrepreneurship strategy, that I liked a lot because they were more or less like coaching, bring you to understand what are your intrinsic motivations, what is your strength, your weaknesses, and you think a lot on your own. And they were also interesting because you think it's only soft skills, creativity, but in fact there's techniques. And this was very interesting to understand that there's still something to learn in an academic course on this. Then the 2 other courses I want to highlight is the one with Marc. This one was very interesting. It was, as I said, easy to follow during the course itself, but it's a few things maybe could seem obvious, but it was key because for the project itself, it aligned all of us on the same wording, on the same understanding, give us techniques also to speed up, to have a nice, because we had every Sunday video conf of several hours. It's important to have a good atmosphere. It's important to be open-minded on what the other brings. Nobody is equal. Nobody has the same background. And this was very interesting to have this course at the beginning of the projects. And another one I want to highlight was very tough to follow in the course. And you need it less every day during the project. It's finance. But for me, it was interesting because I had never done a valuation of a company. I knew how to do a business plan on product. I knew how to do accountancy, but not pure finance. And it's useful today because I skipped in the startup and we are discussing about with VCs.
Okay, well, thank you, François, so much for your testimony. It was really interesting. So, Marc, now I think it's going to be your time to start your presentation, Leadership in the Digital Age. Please, Marc.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon. I would like to thank very much Suzanne for organizing this event. I would like to thank very much François, sorry, for attending this session this morning. And I would like to thank as well Andrea, who is working with us on the logistic part. And without Andrea, we won't be there. So thank you very much for being here. So I was asked to say a few words about leadership in the digital age. So just before we start, I would like to move. Go. Okay, that's good. It's working. Okay. So I've got a question for you. So the question is, what is your weather forecast for today? Sunny, cloudy, rainy? Just think of it, and what could be interesting is your spontaneous answer. I see some sunny, I see some cloudy. Okay, sunny, very good. Thank you very much. This is called an inclusion exercise. Strong advice to each of you. Start every meeting with an inclusion exercise. What is inclusion exercise? It's a question, very simple question. Everyone answer. Two added value. The first one is doing this kind of exercise. I am opening myself a bit. I don't share everything about myself. I just open myself a bit. Opening myself a bit helps others to open themselves a bit as well. And so this is one. And two, you give the opportunity to the most introverted and the shyest people to take the floor. It will be easier for them to take the floor afterwards. It changes meetings. Just try it. You'll see. So I'm Marc. I am, as you can see, I'm half Irish, a quarter Greek, and a quarter Italian. And I was born in France, so I'm French as well. I've got two passports, one French and one Irish. And first of all, I did my military service in the French Navy for 1.5 years as an officer, and then I spent 15 years working in finance in major companies. And after these 15 years, I realized that what I enjoy most in finance was not finance, people. So I decided to switch from finance to what I've been doing now for almost 15 years, which is executive coaching. So I'm coaching executives, teams, and organizations. I'm a master certified coach, MCC, by ICF, International Coach Federation. And as you may know, MCC is the highest certification we can get from this international federation based in the US. Besides that, I started my own company, which is a coaching company. We're based in 6 countries today. We're expanding. And again, we're coaching individuals, teams, and organizations. And besides of that, I'm a professor at HEC Paris. I teach personal development, management and leadership, and international negotiation to executives. And I'm engaged in many programs. I am academic director here at HEC Paris, and I'm engaged in the MSIE OMI program. 1, I teach teamwork, and 2, each project we ask you to work around projects, and these projects are coached, and I'm the coach of the coaches. So I'm really engaged in this program, and I love this program, and maybe I can tell you why I said yes to this program and why I think this program is fantastic. I will come back to this afterwards. The objective of this session is to spend some time about leadership in the digital age. So the purpose of this session is to open ourselves a bit. I've got another question for you. Were you born after or before 1990? I'll let you answer this question. Thank you very much. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Most of us, not all of us, of course, but most of us are born before 1990. And what is interesting in this question is, you know, there may be a disruption between what we call digital natives and what we call digital immigrants. What are digital immigrants? They're coming, you know, they're looking for the new land, and they're immigrants. They're not very familiar with this new world. So I would like to define two words. What is digital and what is leadership? I will be very short on this one. Digital, it's of course one global, no doubt, very complex. It goes very quick, very fast. It's of course connected and viral. Sky is the new limit. You know, 20 years ago, when we had bright ideas, we said, okay, let's work for me, you know, for 20 years, and in 20 years time, I can think of your idea. It's not the way it works now. You can launch new ideas because most of them, not all of them, but most of them may work and will work. So sky is the new limit. And of course, there are new rules for this new world. So this is, from my perspective, what digital means. On the other side, what do we mean by leadership? On my point of view, there are four major topics. The first one is, can you mobilize a team? If you can mobilize a team, I can bet that you may be, you should be, you might be a leader. Do you have a vision? The question is not, are you Mark Zuckerberg? The question is, can you think ahead around your department, around your team, around your company? Can you think ahead? Do you have a vision of what may be tomorrow? This is part of innovation. 3, do you have enough energy to share your energy with others? And most of the time when I'm coaching CEOs, 2 main topics that I want to work on. 1, how to deal with complexity, and 2, how to manage my energy. Because if you don't have energy left, you don't have energy left for your team, and you're not a leader anymore. So take care of yourself, take care of your energy. Last but not least, do you have impact on others? Do you influence others? What do I mean by others? Your country, your company, your department, your team, whatever. You are a leader. So these, according to me, these are what we can say about digital and leadership. And the purpose of what I will share with you now is how can we connect both? I have designed this model for you as well, for all of you, around digital leadership in the digital age. Number 1, the heart of the heart is self-awareness. You should know yourself well. Why? Because I will be more comfortable with myself. Being comfortable with myself will be more comfortable with others. You've got 2 other dimensions. One is being eco-friendly. Eco-friendly means take care of yourself, take care of the environment. I would like to share one example with you. I met this guy. He's the director, the strategic director of a very famous sports brand company, no names. And he told me, well, you know, we're making t-shirts. And to make t-shirts, it requires a huge amount of water on one side. On the other side, we're making these t-shirts in countries where water is not that common. He says that in 5 years' time, maybe less, when you will buy a t-shirt, you will look at how many or how much water do we spend making these t-shirts, because he makes the assumption that being eco-friendly will be well, will be well shared around the world. So, and as you see, you may know this, the UK and Ireland say this is the biodiversity emergency. And within 2030, we should be neutral in terms of carbon. So yes, it's a change in our world, and we should take this into account, no doubt. Take care of the planet, take care of yourself as well. Agility. What do I mean by agility? Flexibility. Today, if you're not agile, you're dead. It's not a question of age, it's a question of state of mind. Two other topics I would like to share with you. One is demanding, and the other one is mindful. The question is not, are you demanding or mindful? The question is, are you demanding and mindful? Demanding because, why? Because you should deliver. Especially in this program, you have milestones. Why? Because you know there are milestones everywhere. And you know, when you want to start your company, probably one question you should ask before starting your company is, why do I want to start my company? If the answer is, I don't want any boss, probably it's not a good answer. Why? Because we all have bosses. I started my company, and my bosses are my clients, because I should adapt to my clients. So we always have bosses. So think of it. Why do you want to start your company if you want to start your company? So demanding means you should be demanding with yourself, with others, of course. Why? Because we build trust if we walk the talk. Lead by example. So this is one side. On the other side, you should be mindful. What do I mean by mindful? I mean, be nice to others. Listen, listen, listen. Just realize that we are not robots, you know, we're human beings, and with hearts, with soul, okay? So we should take this into account. Even in the OMI program, you know, if you want to work in a remote team, the key element here is make sure that, you know, we take into account that we are humans. Maybe I can come back to this afterwards. And the last one, the last dimension here is what I call co-visionary. What do I mean by co-visionary? You with yourself, I guess that you cannot guess what may be the world of tomorrow. Why? Because me with myself, I'm glad that I need you coming from this perspective, Suzanne will give me this perspective. François will give me this perspective. This will help to open my perspective. And so, this is what we ask in your project, and this is what we ask in your team. Open windows, be co-visionary and envisage what could be the world tomorrow, but no, not you with yourself and you with others. I added this model, putting additional words. The first one is know. You should know. This is why there are schools such as HEC, but of course there are other schools. You should learn, and never. It's a never-ending process of learning, because what is relevant today may be not relevant in 5 or 10 years' time. So be in the process of never-ending learning. So this is one. Once you know, do. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. Sometimes when I'm coaching the CEOs, they tell me, "Oh, you know, Mark, people are telling me this for so long." My answer to them is, okay, is it important for you? Yes or no? If it's not important, forget about that. If it's important, what will you do today to change this? Don't wait for next week. It will be too late. Do this now. Again, let me repeat this to you. If you know, and if you don't do, you waste your time. Once you know, once you do, be. This is leadership. Leadership is you are. Be what? Be humble, be present, be there, be open, be a good listener. Be. This is leadership. Know, do, be. I will finish this presentation. I would like to share some topics on how to embrace the digital culture. Maybe I would like to come back to this, the previous slide. I mentioned here some competences. You should be proud of your background, you should be proud of you, and you should be proud of your competences. I would like to work with you not because you've got beautiful eyes, I would like to work with you because you've got competences and because you've got a great personality. So if you've got some of these skills, you can be proud of them. If you've got all these skills, please call me, I would like to work with you. So how to embrace the digital culture? Promote collaborative environment. I worked for this very big company in the cosmetic industry, and they changed their culture in 3 years, which is such a big company. It's very short. Year one, they said, obviously, we have to change, but we are not ready. Year two, they said, obviously, we have to change and we have to do something. 3 years, the third year, they changed everything about the culture, and they switched from egocentric to a more collaborative culture. Why? Because when they recruited young talents, 3 years after having recruited, half of them left. Why? Because this was not collaborative enough. So the new generation requires that you should work in a more collaborative environment. So Superman is not a hero. He's not a hero anymore. Sorry for Superman. 2, you should work around new technology. I'm not expert in 3D printing. I'm not expert in cloud. I'm not expert in everything which are going on. But I at least I know a bit around everything. And in my team, in my environment, if I have very special questions around these topics, I can call these guys and they will help me. So my point here is be open to new technologies, because this will make tomorrow. Data is gold. Data is gold. I never put away anything, because one day, who knows, this can be my I can use this. So data is gold. Empower people. My belief is the leader of tomorrow will be an enabler. Probably not the guy who speaks, all the time and say, Mark, you should do this, Mark, you should do that. Probably, if this was probably good in the past, probably not in the day of tomorrow. So be an enabler. Create the conditions to succeed, to make you succeed, to make your team succeed, and to make your project succeed. Be in a serve culture. Ask the question why. Why not? Ask questions. Ask questions. Challenge the status quo, because tomorrow will challenge the status quo. And believe me or not, what is happening in the climate change, this will drastically change the way we will live in the coming years. Believe me or not, I'm convinced of that. Yes, your clients are looking for a delightful experience. They want to be delighted. So take this into account. Last but not least, get inspired by different fields. It can be music, it can be theater, it can be whatever. Get inspired. Open windows. Conclusion. I would like to share with you my belief. It's a strong belief. My belief is small changes can make a big difference. In other terms, if you want to work, if you want to start the OMI, we won't change, we won't drastically change you. But the question here is, what are the small changes that you're ready to make in order to make a big difference? So this is my strong belief. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening to me. So I'm ready to answer any kind of questions you may have. So if you have any kind of questions, you can chat. So use the chat and ask questions. So what are the 1 or 2 questions that are coming to me? Maybe Andrea, maybe can you share 1 or 2 questions to me? By the way, there is no stupid question. So please ask. And if I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. Very easy. Very easy. So any questions or any remarks, any comments, anything you would like to share with me about leadership in the digital age? Maybe 1 or 2? We're looking this way because, this is where we've got the screen. So can you?
So do social network are needed for leadership?
Oh, this is a good question. Thank you for asking this question. The answer is yes. Yes, because social network, it's a way for you to be connected to the real world. However, don't become the slave of these tools. Why? Because they can use you in a way you may regret. This is my perspective. Let me share something very personal with you. If you go to LinkedIn and you want to connect with me, you will see my profile. Why? Because I think LinkedIn is a fantastic tool to make connections and to know a bit more about my profile, what I did and what I can do, etc. But believe me or not, I accept no contact. Why? Because my belief is my network is my network. And if I share my network with everyone, my belief is I may not respect my network. So I want to respect my network first. And I don't want to know the person I coach because I think confidentiality is very important. And because I put high standards in terms of confidentiality, so I don't have any contact on LinkedIn. But if you want to be connected with me, send me a contact by LinkedIn, and I can. You say I would like to have a contact with you. Can you have your email? And I contact one-to-one by email. So yes, it's a good way to connect with people, but use the way you like you to use it and respect yourself first. So this is how I can answer this question. So Suzanne, another question?
How can young leaders influence the senior leaders in organizations to embrace leadership in digital age?
Fantastic question. Thank you. My strong belief, leadership is not a question of age. Let me repeat this. Leadership is not a question of age. It's a question of personality. It's a question of everything we've seen so far. And by the way, believe me or not, the oldest generation are very interested by the youngest generation because you are opening windows, you are opening our minds. So keep humble and say, for example, don't challenge the way you work, but let me share with you what can interest the young generation. So to be short, to answer this question, how can you do this? My answer would be share with them what you know about your generation. For example, one young guy told me that, what is very important for us is example, lead by example. Because if you say A and if you do B, I would like to work with you. So this was very interesting for me because I did not know this was that important in the new generation. So this is only an example. So to be short on this one, how to do that? Share with them what you can bring to them, and what you can bring to them is a kind of understanding how this new generation works. What is interesting for you, what is interesting in your new generation, and this will be a huge added value for oldest ones, and this is the good way you can enter this world. No doubt, no doubt. Maybe another one, Suzanne?
Okay, so we have a hello from Oslo and someone who's wondering how this change will relate to public leaders and governments, or will this change only relate to firms?
Oh, this is a good one. Thank you. You've got very good questions. Thank you very much. Good morning, Oslo, by the way. So, yes, I think more and more, I think the firm environment will inspire the public environment. Why? Because there are huge changes. And from my perspective, if you are a company and if you're not agile, you're dead. While public, if you're not agile, you're still alive and there is no problem. And more, there is an issue and there is a concern around this specific topic. So no doubt that there will be an influence in the side of leadership in companies and in public as well. So yes, there will be a change. This is my belief. Another one, Suzanne?
Another one. So someone talking about our MSIE program. Is this an appropriate program if you are looking to enhance the entrepreneurial spirit and innovation of a more archaic organization rather than beginning a new company?
Very good question again. I will let François answer this question, but just before giving the floor to François. This project is around innovation and entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? I want to start my own company. What is innovation? I've got a good idea and I want to implement this good idea in my old traditional company. So it's for both. So the target for this program is on one side for the ones who want to start their own company, or it can be today, it can be in 5 years' time, it can be in 10 years' time. I have something in mind, but I'm not ready. I would like to know how it looks like. It's for us. It's for you. And now this on the other side, it's around innovation within your company. So the answer is absolutely yes. Maybe François, you can say a few words around that.
I think definitely it's a good master for that. When I started, I was doing entrepreneurship. So it's entrepreneurial. It's every time you have a project or product to develop, it's not exactly the same, but you need the same kind of skills and
yes, the same state of mind.
And state of mind.
Yes.
And you need to understand the cultural issues. You need to. I will maybe come back afterwards a little bit on this on what I kept, but it's exactly. You've got the keys during this master to understand and to be more efficient, to convince people to move and to make the move, or at least to see if it's whatever the energy you will spend, it won't change anything, because sometimes, unfortunately, it's that, and then it means that you have to get out and build your own startup and maybe afterwards sell it to the company that they want to move with it.
It's an option.
This is things you learn and you understand during the master.
Thank you very much. I hope we answer your questions. Okay, maybe your last one before.
Well, there's another one. The younger generation tends to seem overconfident and hard to manage. How to make yourself a good leader in front of young people who think they are the best at everything?
Why? Because they are the best in everything. So they're telling you the truth. So yes, probably something you should take into account. It's is it easy to manage? The answer is no, because there is a disruption. But there are two ways of seeing it. One is to say, you know, this young generation, they're so boring and they're so challenging and it's tiring, whatever. The other side, on the other side, you can say, well, maybe they knock the door to somewhere I don't want to see. So maybe it's a good way for you to be challenged and to grow. Let me share this story with you. I had lunch with a young lady, a brilliant lady. And she told me, look at what I can do with my app, and this is fantastic. This is fantastic. And my first reaction said, well, I thought she was brilliant, but she's spending some time on this stupid app. She's waiting her time. And I told her, I said, well, we've got a very good connection. I told her, well, don't you think that you waste your time? And she told me, this app is working very well. So probably a question you should ask yourself is why? Why this question? Why this app is working so well? Probably this app is fulfilling a need. I said, this is fantastic. I didn't see this story on this side. It changes the way I see this new generation, because I say, well, maybe it's stupid, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a new way of approaching things. So one, is it easy? No. But it's a good way to challenge the way you are and the way you challenge and the way you manage people, because the way you should adapt to this new generation, because the new generation is coming. So as a conclusion, I have a dream. I'd like to share with you my dream. I would like you to be the driver of your life. I'm not saying that you can drive and you can change everything. I would like you to be the driver of your life. And to do so, I give you the permission to be yourself. Enjoy. Maybe you can say in one word, what's your perception about leadership and digital? Do you feel lost? Do you feel one or two words? You would use your chat, 1 or 2 words around this the discussion we had together about the question about 1 or 2 words, just to have a taste of what could be this
Agility.
Agility. Very good. Excellent.
Be humble.
Yes.
Learning.
Yes.
Universal accessibility.
Fantastic. I love this. Fantastic.
Accommodating.
Yes.
Possibilities.
Very good. Excellent. I love these words. Fantastic.
Adaptive nature and mindful.
Mindful. Fantastic. I love all these words. Maybe my very last word, and again, I will give the floor to François. Enjoy and have fun. I'm not saying that everything is funny. I'm saying that if you consider the world as, a great experience, you will live as a great experience. And if you can put a bit of sense of humor, this would, again, I'm not saying that everything is funny. And believe me or not, I know that life is not easy. But even if it's not his life easy, bringing, a bit of sense of humor, this can help me step back and consider different options. Thank you very much. So François?
And so I think you wanted me to explain what the skills, the different skills I kept. How to say? The key points I learned is what I expected. It's consolidating what I knew already, but doing it more efficiency. As you said, Marc, I wrote down a few elements you were saying, because it's you need to have energy to share, but you need to manage your energy. And in entrepreneuriat, this is one of the questions we had. It's a lot of energy, and sometimes you don't even understand why it's not moving, it's not progressing. And during this master, you go through full toolbox on all the different areas, and you learn where to understand where it's blocking. And it's not obviously because you're doing it badly. It's maybe because there's a cultural issue. It's maybe because the guy doesn't like you. And this is why it's also important. It was funny to ask about the weather, but the opening also is important when you just come and focus on your objectives. Sometimes it's, of course, during a meeting in an hour, it's more efficient. But on a project that lasts a year, it's just boring. And at the end, people and often young people, they don't want to work with you because you're just boring. You're always focused on the objectives. So I think this is things you can. I took into from the master. It's being more efficient on top of learning some hard skills and finance and things like that I didn't know. There were a lot of things I knew, but I didn't know how to make them work all together and to distinguish exactly. And the other thing I learned, and this is for the is to dare. It's, I think in HEC it's and you gave a driver of this. If you know, do, and if you do, be. And at a certain moment, I quit my job and I work now with one of my classmates in Consulib. It's telemedicine, and so I think before that I would never have dared to start setting up a startup. And I saw a question on health in Africa, and I think the master is well adapted, and there's a health hub in the alumni. There's also an African hub, I think. So I'm speaking about a question I saw on the board there. There's people, yeah, there was a lot of projects, and I had a project, but now I'm with a surgeon who had this project in telemedicine. And we learned how to dare, we understood what we had to do. And this is much more, it's I think the key thing I learned more than just knowing a hard skill. At the end, even if you don't understand finance, you know what it's about, and you know who you can go and fetch, and you can fetch some help in the alumni. That's the key points about doing this master.
Sorry, Susan, I have to add one word. Sorry, I apologize for that. I will be very short. I know I'm very talkative. I apologize for that. I have to rebound on what you said. One, I would like to tell you that in our program, one coach told me, you know, it was at the very beginning of cohort 2. He came to me and said, Marc, I'm a bit scared because they completely changed their project. And I said, this is fantastic. This is pivoting. Pivoting is the ability to change and to adapt to what your client say, because what do they say? Because if you do with yourself, you won't be successful. So pivoting is a key. So agility and pivoting. 2, believe me or not, before starting this project, I was doubting, can we work in a remote team? And now we've got proof. The answer is yes. But it's yes, it requires discipline. We should start on time, we should finish on time. When someone is not here, okay, we have to move on. And so you should have roles, but the more remote you are, the more discipline you should get. And probably third one, Consulib. This is, let me tell you, the best project of cohort 1. This was a fantastic idea, fantastic team, and humility, because this team is working very well, and it's a real project, and they're launching this for real. So it's possible. Suzanne.
Okay, thank you so much, Marc. François, do you want to add anything more?
No, except if there's any question. Yeah.
Are there any questions, maybe?
Please don't hesitate. We're here for you.
Any questions? Well, yeah, people asking more to connect, and they love their messages. Well, that's nice. Nice feedback. So no, there's no questions, no new questions I see. Okay, so anyway.
So yes, maybe you have to explain how to get into this program, right?
Yes,
Suzanne?
because maybe
Yes.
now you're really motivated to have classes, follow classes by teachers such as Marc, Beretta, and start projects like François have started and learn how to dare. So maybe you are considering to join our Master in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So the main criteria on this slide, like you must be having 5 years minimum of professional experience, be of course proficient in English since the whole course is in English, and you have to find 20 hours per week to work for our master. And of course, last but not least, you must be having an entrepreneurship and innovation spirit, which is essential for our project-based courses. So the tariff of our master is 20,000 euros. And maybe you do not have the profile yet of our master or the funds. Well, it is possible to start with our certificate and then later on progress with the master. And maybe now you're really motivated to get a taste for free of our master. So we have MOOCs and also specializations at a very reasonable price, which are all available on the Coursera platform. So I really invite you to go and scroll and take a look. And it will give you a good idea like this webinar and Marc and François's feedback about the quality of our program. So thank you so much, Marc and François, for being here.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you for all of viewers who have watched our webinar. Please note for those who have started applications that we have the next jury coming up on May 15th, and we'll be having jury dates every week. And we will be starting a new cohort on June 24th. So that leaves you plenty of time to start an application today and to send us all your information before the beginning of this next cohort. Thank you so much. You have my coordinates on this slide, Marc.
One word.
Yes.
From your side, what would be this word? One word about this project.
Oh, this project, amazing.
What would be your word?
Fun.
Mine would be hope.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marc. Thank you, François. And thank you, Andrea, for helping us for the technical side.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice
Bye.
day.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
C'est good? C'est bon?
Oui.
Ça a été enregistré ou pas? Oui. Je pourrais avoir l'enregistrement?
Ouais.
Ok, merci. Bon,
Bon.
on se tutoie,
Oui,
ouais.
oui, bien sûr. Bah, merci beaucoup. franchement.
Ton feedback,
C'était vivant. Moi, j'ai beaucoup aimé les interactions qu'on avait les uns entre les autres.
Oui,
Et j'ai beaucoup aimé ta présentation, même d'un point de vue personnel.